your sports. 98.5 Sports Hub.
Ground ball and a nice play, Gonzalez. Their foot race, close, and got him to end the ball game. On a bang-bang play, Murphy getting over there. See if they challenge it. They will not, and that's your final. 13-1. The Red Sox pound their way to a win and a series win right before the trade deadline.
Well, Bayo was very good, right? He had nasty stuff today. 7 innings, 5 hits, just 1 earned run. He did walk 4. The command was a little off, but he figured it out and got going, and the offense took over. 16 hits, 13 runs. I know they had 5 there in the 9th off the position player. I get that, but that was a well-played game all around. Some really good defense also.
All right, here we are. Red Sox beat up on the Minnesota Twins today. Boy, that's an easy one when you play that team. Boy, do the Twins suck. Wow, is that bad? Holy crap, I said this earlier. Tell me how many guys you know in the Minnesota Twins lineup, because I don't know any of them. A couple, maybe. Christian Vasquez, because he played here. Clemens' kid. Correa. I think that's it. Max Kepler plays for the Phillies now. I always liked him. He beat the crap out of the Red Sox. I was just asking Jared Carrabis a question. Where does Minnesota rank in offense? Got to be among the worst in the league. 21st. 21st. Good job, Jared. You guessed 21st.
Nailed it.
21st in Major League Baseball in runs scored. In any case.
You know Ty France, yeah?
Yeah. Ty France, I know. Yeah, he used to be with Seattle.
Correct.
So, anyway, 617-779-0985 is your number. Since the last time we spoke, the Red Sox have actually played 2 games. 2. And to their credit, they've won them both. And I say that without being facetious whatsoever. Because after the debacle on Monday night, and when I say debacle, I'm talking about that 24-hour period where the Red Sox had a bad flight, people puking, guys unavailable as a result, Garrett Whitlock, Aroldis Chapman's bad back, the rain delay, Jordan Hicks. I thought there was a chance for them to blow this series against the Twins. They blew the first game, but they won the next 2. Now the trading deadline is upon us. 24 hours, less than 24 hours to go. Jared Carrabis is here, and as always, is presented by Blue Moon Light, a light and refreshing citrus sweet beer with only 95 calories, brewed with real tangerine peel for a subtle sweetness and a smooth finish, just like
me.
Enjoy Blue Moonlight today. 617-779-0985. Okay, so, Jared, given where we are right now, the Red Sox, if you can believe it, let me just double-check this to make sure I read that correctly, are only a game and a half behind the Yankees?
They're a half game back of the Yankees.
Half game back of the Yankees in the wild card race.
Yep.
And when I say that, I mean that is for the number 1 spot, which is not insignificant because you would get home field in the first round of the playoffs. And with the way the Red Sox have played at Fenway Park lately, I wouldn't mind seeing that. But in any case, deadline's coming up. Team feels like it is stabilized. It's 4 out of the last 6 now. They've won 2 series in a row. So you tell me, what do you expect at the deadline? What should fans expect at the deadline?
Do you mind if I pose a question right back to you?
Of course.
Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that the Red Sox have kind of been moving in silence? Do you take that as they're running a tight ship, or do you take that as they're being inactive?
No, I think it's that they're running a tight ship.
I do too. I think when and I don't think this was.
I don't think that's ever a bad thing.
I don't think it was Heim's fault, but when Heim was here, there were leaks. People kind of knew what moves they were making, where they were looking, and who they were talking to. With Breslow, I mean, there's been multiple examples now. I know he's only been here for not even 2 years, but it would just be like you snap your fingers and then boom, you have the Garrett Crochet deal. Oh, everyone is saying they're not going to sign an extension, and then boom, here's the extension. The Christian Campbell extension. Like, there just haven't been leaks when they've made moves. So if you're a Red Sox fan who is somewhat discouraged, I guess, at the lack of reporting, they're linked to this guy, that guy, they're talking to this team, I wouldn't sweat it. I mean, people are asking me, what do you think they're going to do? I know what they should do and what I think they have to do, but I can't tell you right now what I know they're going to do. But if you're getting discouraged again by the lack of reporting surrounding the team, I don't think that that's like indicative of what's to come.
So look, I think the fact that you're not hearing them is a good thing. In fact, I saw, I think it was an item by Sean McAdam saying that he heard from people in other organizations that the Red Sox were in quote-unquote stealth mode. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
And if that's true, I would commend them for it. Whenever things are quiet or when you're serious and you are potentially, now I shouldn't say whenever, sometimes it's because nothing's going on. But I have a hard time believing that that is the case as the trading deadline comes around. Now, there's been a lot of stuff out there in the last day or so about the trade deadline, and there are a bunch of things we want to get to tonight on the show. I also want to get to Garrett Crochet in particular, who is pushed back from his scheduled start on Friday night at Fenway Park, which is after the trade deadline. He is now not going to pitch until the beginning of next week against the Kansas City Royals. Everyone is saying there's nothing wrong with Crochet. I disagree. I might even have a little bit of inside info now to the contrary. So we'll get to that. Obviously, the trade deadline, and we want to hear from you on anything and everything. But when I say there's some stuff out there, Jimmy Stewart, the Chris Cotillo comment, if we could grab that on the, I think it's called the Fenway Rundown on Mass Live. Chris Cotillo, Sean McAdam, and Jared, I say this up front. I have no idea whether you get along with Chris Cotillo or don't.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay, I was just going to say, honestly, I don't care. I was just going to tell you up front, because I know there are some guys you feud with.
Just one.
A little bit on the beat.
Just one.
And I would say whether you feud with them or not, I want you to judge what we're about to play on the merits of what is said without trying to take into account whether or not you like the person. So this is Chris Cotillo on the, again, the Fenway Rundown podcast on Mass Live about how the Red Sox look at the trade deadline and how they evaluate whether or not to make a substantive move to help the roster.
And looking at the odds, Fangraphs has them right now. They're 6 games above 500. They're in the wild card mix, as we talked about. A 48.8% chance of making the playoffs. You've talked on this show repeatedly about how you think it's important to get back to the postseason and have that taste and get the guys' experience. And you think there's people in the Red Sox organization that do agree with that and think that it's a good learning experience and it means something to get there. I do think there's also people from the very top. We know John Henry thinks this way, that looks at that, but really looks at the number next to it on Fangraphs, Sean, which says the chance of winning a World Series is 2%. This is a guy, and this is an ownership group that's won 4 of them. They're not going to get excited over a wild card round appearance. And so to me, in the back of my mind, we know that John Henry, in talking about why or why not in private conversations with people in the past, he has wanted to add to the team or not, has cited World Series odds as a factor he looks at. That is a fact. He looks at it and says, we have a 2% chance of winning. Hey, let's not go all in. Let's do this. I could see that totally being in play here.
Okay, so Cotillo says, again, he could see the fact that the World Series odds are low coming into a play as the Red Sox ponder whether to make a deal at the deadline. Do you agree with him?
I don't have anything to dispute. Like, if he has that as a fact, I mean, he said it's a fact. I mean, how could I dispute that? But I think I would also sort of look at it and say he hires people to make those decisions for a reason. I think when you look at the job of the chief baseball officer or general manager or president of baseball operations, he is the financial advisor for the billionaire that is the owner. And if you have someone like Craig Breslow, who you hired to do this job, say, well, John, I think that it would be extremely beneficial because we have one of the youngest, if not the youngest team in baseball, to be able to get them there, because a lot of these guys have never played in the postseason. A lot of these guys have never been on a winning team, period. So, yeah, me personally, yes, I think it's valuable to at least get there. I know that some people might say that's loser mentality, like, oh, you just want to get there and lose. I don't want to lose. Do I think that they're going to win the World Series this year? I don't. But is there value in getting there and having that experience? And, you know, when you look at World Series percentage for winning it, it doesn't factor in the human element. And I know that some people don't want to hear that, but you get a guy like Jarren Duran and Ceddanne Rafaela and some of these fierce competitors in the postseason, and then you lose. How many times? I mean, do you think, Tony? And let me ask you this, because you covered this, and I've asked players that were on both teams. If the Red Sox don't lose the way that they lose in 2003, do they still win in 2004?
No.
That's what I'm talking about. And
that's not the only example, by the way, because that one's an extreme one, right?
It's the most extreme.
Right, and when I say that, I mean they had gone 86 years without winning. So to fall apart and lose at the end like they did against the Yankees, now there's even more of an impetus to come back. They were on a mission in 2004, and that's not the only place we've seen it. We've seen it with the Bruins. We've seen it with many teams who've come back from bad losses. It even happened to the Red Sox in 2018. They lost in the playoffs 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. They lost in 2016. They lost in 2017. And that inspired them to go out, get
JD Martinez.
Get JD Martinez and get Alex Cora and fill the holes on their roster. And then they came back the next year and won. So I would like to think that getting there and losing would be beneficial in some way.
It is.
But I have my concerns.
About
whether or not the Red Sox really want to take on risk anymore. And this is what it is. And this is I've given this a lot of thought over the last week because, and I'll get into this more after the trade deadline, but the Red Sox get very sensitive about this whole idea that they're quote unquote cheap. And I've said this many times, and I'm not just saying this because, I've heard about it of late from them. But I would also say, I don't think it's that they're cheap. Middle of the pack is not cheap. Okay? Maybe they're spending less than they should or could, but I think they've become extremely risk averse. And some of the bad contracts that they've signed now haunt them to the point where they don't want any of them anymore. And I think that's a mistake. So I don't believe in any absolutes about anything. So the idea that, we're not going to sign $300 million contracts anymore or something of the like, and I don't know that they've said that, and they haven't said that to me. But I think that there's always an exception to every rule.
Well, hasn't there been ebbs and flows to that mentality?
Sure.
Because they gave Kyle Crawford $142 million.
Yep.
Got him out of there, and they were like, we're never doing that again. Then they cheaped out on John Lester and then made David Price the highest paid pitcher in baseball. Traded him. They were like, let's get out from under that.
Chris Sale.
They didn't want to, they didn't want to pay Mookie Betts. And then they were like, I guess we got to pay someone. How about Rafi Devers? So like there's ebbs and flows to it. Like they may say that, we're scarred by the Devers contract and the Price contract, and you can go back as far as you want, but there's been success stories, but there's been failures. And I think John Henry is smart enough to know you can't contend in this sport unless you spend money. Sure, you'll have the Cinderella stories of the Rays going to the World Series and then the Diamondbacks going to the World Series. Did they win? No, they did not. So yeah, like the teams that spend upwards of the top of the rest of the league, those are the teams that are perennially in the postseason and the ones that ultimately win the World Series.
Do you think, beyond the money, do you think that they'd be willing to trade prospects for, I don't want to say a rental, because I don't know that many teams would do that anymore. But do you think that they are willing to make an aggressive trade for a guy like a Joe Ryan?
Well, Passan told us last week Joe Ryan's not going anywhere. But
okay,
do I think
hypothetically?
That, yes, yeah. I mean, if Craig Breslow has the balls to trade Rafael Devers, then he has the balls to trade whoever. No, obviously we're not talking like Roman Anthony or guys like that, but from actual prospects, yeah, I do think that if the deal presented itself, and so here's a question that I need answered from Breslow and whomever Theo Epstein, whoever he looks at for answers. If you put the names into your algorithm and it tells you that the prospects that you've given up in this deal is more of a value to the team that's receiving it than you getting the player that you want, would you still make that deal to get the player that you want? Because you're going to have to do that at some point.
At some point, you have to lose a trade.
You have to come out on the losing end of the value side.
Do you think they're willing to do that?
For the right guy at the right time, yes.
Okay, I don't. I don't.
That's. Are you talking about today? Are you talking about at this deadline or ever?
Right now, I'm saying at this time, but I'm starting to fear that it's becoming ever. That they will only make a trade if it's advantageous. And by the way, let me just say this, because and then we'll take a break just because we're up against it. Okay, but I've heard people say, Theo's in the background there now. Theo was involved in the negotiations for Bregman. Maybe Theo was involved in the Crochet trade. I'm sure he was. I hope he was. Theo has tremendous experience. They should rely on him to guide them through those negotiations, 100%. And if Theo hears this, he'll get pissed because I always used to sort of bring it up. Let's just remember, Theo would not have done the Josh Beckett and Mike Lowell deal.
Well, he wasn't there, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so, but the point is, that won them a World Series. Okay, that won them a World Series. And I think Theo was of the mindset that we're not going to give away a good young prospect for a questionable third baseman, even though Beckett was young and an ace at the time. So there was a measure of that in Theo 20 years ago. Theo had some reluctance in doing that. And by the way, I'm not saying that Theo's wrong to believe what he believes. I'm just telling you what he is. That they value young players. They value those guys who are controllable for 6 years, as well they should. But when he was with the Cubs, and I'll say this in Theo's defense, he also made a trade for Aroldis Chapman where he said sometimes you have to lose the trade for the benefit of your club. And I think the Red Sox are kind of at that stage now. So anyway, 617-779-0985. We'll get to your calls. And I want to give you some particulars on Garrett Crochet and why I call bullcrap that there's nothing wrong with him. Something happened that led to them pushing him out of the lineup or out of the rotation until Monday or Tuesday. And I think I know what it is. We'll do that when we come back as well.
The Baseball Hour with Tony Mass.
one card, they threw two cards. So I don't know if those training wheels are off now. I think they're back on to the point where they want to have a little bit more of a controllable environment. So, it comes from ownership, and ownership has to be the one that blesses the moves.
It's JP Ricciardi, longtime baseball executive, evaluator, local guy. Jimmy, what's the name of the podcast again? Can you help me with that?
So I believe that was 310 to left.
Tyler Milliken's favorite Red Sox podcast.
Okay, 310 to left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, look, I've always thought very highly of JP's baseball acumen. What he can tell you about how the Red Sox do business, I think, is what you'll hear from a lot of people. And I do feel like the Red Sox now are... Look, here's what I believe, okay? I believe the Red Sox got tired and traumatized by that cycle of World Series, last place, World Series. You follow me? The up and down.
I'm not really tired of it.
Okay, I am a little bit.
Winning the World Series every 4 years?
No, that's not what I said. What I said was the cycle of going from the top to the bottom.
Well, let me ask you this, Tony. Would you rather be the Yankees, who just have a winning record every year, make the playoffs every year, but never make it to the World Series, never win the World Series? Or would you rather be the Red Sox, who are in last place every year, and then every 4 years win the World Series?
Why can't I be a team that's pretty good all the time and wins its share of World Series?
Because you don't live in Los Angeles, so you don't have the geographical upside of having all the players from Japan wanting to sign with your team.
Okay, but I lived in Boston for a long time.
It's not that way anymore. The landscape has changed.
I don't care what it's like, what it's like right now. I care about what the capability is.
Mm-hmm.
And the capability is that they can do both. Listen, back in 2006, when they missed the playoffs, they won 86 games. Okay, then in 2007, they won a world championship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then in 2008, they made the LCS and lost. 2009 and 10, I think they made the playoffs both years, but lost.
10, they did not.
Okay, so but how many games did they win?
I think that was the year that they won 86.
Okay, but again,
yeah,
but that's not 78.
No,
it's they're in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm getting at. It's doable. It's not easy, but it's doable. I don't think that is a bad standard for them. I think they're capable of doing it that way. They have the resources to do it, and the fact that the Yankees haven't won a championship. If I were in New York, I'd be all over the Yankees for that. You got to win the championships too. You got to seal the deal. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. You should find a way to do both. John in the car. John, what do you got?
Hey, Tony. What's going on? The Cotillo piece, Tony, where he says there's 2% chance to win the World Series. Why can't John Henry and his advisors look at that and say, if we go out and get the right-handed bat that everybody says they need, if we go out and get the bullpen help and the closer, suddenly that 2% turns into 22%. And it just seems like simple logic to me, but because where they are now is 2%, we do nothing. You're in the race. You have a chance. The league is wide open. There's no clear-cut favorite to at least win the pennant, if not go to the World Series. I don't understand why that logic never even gets factored into the equation, and it's just nerd central 100% of the time.
Yeah, so, John, look, I get it, and I happen to agree with you. The point being, Jared, if you don't like the odds, change the odds.
Sure. But
right?
I mean,
you can impact the odds.
But to the caller's point, they could trade for Shohei Ohtani tomorrow, and their World Series odds would go up to like 3.3%. Like, that's just not how like World Series odds goes. I agree that, you should be aggressive and you should make moves that make the team better, but in terms of, increasing your World Series odds, like you're never going to get to, like the Dodgers, I want to say at the beginning of the year, it was like 25% or something like that, just based on their roster. But they're the Dodgers. You're not the Dodgers. Like there's no series of moves that are going to really move the needle. Like the hope is you're looking at the chance to make the postseason percentages. That's the number you should be looking at. And I believe the last time I checked, it was over 50% for the Red Sox. And you want to move that needle, and you can. You can absolutely move that needle.
So to me, again, and there's a benefit to just getting in this year, even if they don't win it, to give some of these young guys the experience they need. Jimmy, you're going to have to help me out here because I froze up. Billy and Bridgewater on line 2 about the trade deadline. Go ahead, Billy.
Hey guys, I was just wondering. This is a twofold question, really quick. Are teams like the Twins waiting for the deadline to get closer, so teams get desperate and they can get a home run trade? And if so, why didn't the Red Sox do it with Devers? Is it because they were worried people would find out about an injury maybe they were hiding? I was wondering about that.
Okay, well, let's stick with the first one first. Do you think the Twins just made a move, Jared, based on what you were telling me a second ago?
Yeah, Kenny Rosenthal just tweeted that the Phillies are getting close to trading for Yohan Duran, their closer.
Okay, so big trade coming up there. Obviously, it's a big piece in the bullpen. What was the second part of the question he asked?
Why didn't the Red Sox wait until the deadline to maximize leverage and get a better return for Devers? I think the answer to that is they just want to get him out of there as soon as possible. And the second, for them, it wasn't about the return. The return was
getting rid of the money and getting rid of the player.
Yep, that was it. Yeah, it's get someone to take on the full contract, and the second that they got someone to agree to doing that, I was like, all right, see you later.
Let me squeeze in one more. Ron in Worcester, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Maz. I watched the game today, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But, it seems like August is here now. And
what's
in
here?
about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
In about 2 weeks, you're going to see a whole new, different Red Sox team. And I mean, not to win, just like they were for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, so Ron, I don't know if I believe that. I look, again, I think to me, I think they're doing something in the next day. I can't tell you that it's going to be something great. I want something significant. I think they're at that stage. I look at it and say, you've now got to add pieces that matter, and that matter beyond 2025. Now, I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth. In the same breath, I'll tell you, if rentals are all that's available, I'll take a rental. I want these guys playing in big games. That, to me, is a big thing. Because, again, Mookie Betts, Jackie Bradley, Benintendi, when they all went through it, those guys played in some big games before they won the World Series. There was a process there. And then, the Red Sox went cold in their draft and development for that period of time. So when they didn't want to re-sign some of the people that they let go, like Mookie Betts, and then ultimately Bogarts, and ultimately Devers, it hurt them. They were left with nothing. So put yourself in a better position this time. Don't lapse into that. But to me, they're at the stage now where it's time to start competing for championships every year.
I completely agree with you. It's just that I keep going back to, all right, then who's the guy? Would you be happy if they said Merrill Kelly to the Boston Red Sox tomorrow? Are you happy with that? Are you satisfied?
My answer is no, but if you tell me no other guys with term moved, okay, and again, I just use Joe Ryan because he's easy.
Sandy Alcantara, you happy with that?
I'd be happier than with Merrill Kelly.
You'd be happier with Kelly?
Yes. No.
You'd be happier with Sandy Alcantara.
Happier than with Merrill Kelly.
Okay, because Sandy, I think, has 3 years left. It's a relatively inexpensive salary, but those are the types of guys that are going to be moving. We're not going to see you're going to see a washed up Justin Verlander get traded from the Giants. I just don't know that it's going to be that clear cut. Someone tomorrow is more than likely not trading for their game one starter. That I don't think that guy's getting moved.
And Jared, I think it's probably going that way too. But if there is a guy with term who moves and they don't get him, are you going to be happy about that?
Depends on who it is.
Okay, my answer is no, because I think any one of those guys could help them no matter what.
Sure.
And they have a need for it. Again, Giolito's going to be out of there. They're not going to give him some sort of big deal again.
I think he's got an option.
He has an option?
I believe so.
Oh, lovely. Wonderful. Kevin Majori's Get Your Headlines. I want to get to the Crochet thing because it drove me crazy today. And I think it's important. I don't think that Garrett Crochet is getting bumped for the hell of it, which is basically how this thing's being presented. But Kevin Majori's Get Your Headlines first.
Sports Hub Headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy.
pitch. They're pushing him back to Monday against Kansas City. Now, why would they do that?
Didn't one of the callers earlier just ramble on about his innings and all that? Yeah, I mean, like, he's in uncharted waters in terms of his workload. I think they're trying to be cautious with it. I don't think that there's an injury, but I feel like you disagree.
Okay, so do you think they've been cautious with him so far?
Yeah, I think that they've given him time when he's needed it. I think that their whole thing about if you're like over 100 pitches and like they're managing like his pitch count and stuff, I think that they have been very calculated about it. Yeah.
Okay, so starting on June 18th, 1, 2, 3, 4, Crochet has made 7 starts. How many times do you think he has pitched on regular rest, which is 4 days of rest?
Let
me help you. 0.
Oh, so he's been given an extra day.
He's been given an extra day every single time. Okay,
they kind of did this with Sale, though. Don't you remember that?
Okay, but this guy's built differently, and but listen, I would also tell you, Sale had a history of fading. This guy doesn't. I know he's never done it.
We don't know. Yeah.
Okay, he hasn't done it, but that doesn't mean he fades.
Sure.
Sale, there was evidence that he faded, and look at him. The guy was a freaking scarecrow. So Crochet has made 22 starts. Mm-hmm. 15 of them have come with 5 or more days of rest. 15 out of 22. So what I'm getting at is they've been careful already. And from July 13th, am I getting this right? From July 13th to July 25th, he made 1 start.
Isn't that with the All-Star break built in?
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. So, but that's rest.
Yeah.
He got plenty of rest there.
Yeah.
So not only has he had 5 or more days of rest between every start, he's also had a stretch where he made 1 start in 13 days. Mm-hmm. 1 start. Now all of a sudden, he's going Friday night on extra rest again. And they're worried about his workload? I don't buy it. I guess
like my counter would be, is it working? Like if he were going out there and still laboring, then it's like, okay, maybe we're dealing with an injury here. Like he doesn't look the same. The velocity is down, whatever. That's not been the case. Like he's still going 6-7 innings. He's still approaching 100 pitches. The velocity's still there. Like the stuff is still good.
Yes.
He's had two bad outings, right, of like 5 earned or whatever.
So, but why does he now need like an 8-day rest?
Well, I mean, don't knock it if it's working, I guess.
No, but it's working with 5 days.
Sure.
So why do you have to go to 8?
I don't know, Tony. That seems like a question for someone from the Red Sox.
You don't. And I'll tell you what went up my ass about this story today. I'm not telling you that Garrett Crochet has some sort of major issue. I am not saying that. And what's going to happen is he's going to pitch, he's going to look fine, and people are going to say, oh, see, you made it up. I didn't make anything up. I'm not telling you he's hurt. I'm just telling you that, and my understanding is there's some sort of leg thing popped up with him. It's minor. It's not a big deal. And I'm not telling you it's a big deal. I'm just telling you, don't tell me it's nothing. And that they're just doing it for the hell of it because they want to give him more rest. No. So what went up my ass about this today is that Cora makes the announcement. Did anyone ask if the guy had his side session between starts? Does he typically make them? And if he does, did he make this most recent turn? My guess is that he was getting prepared to make his side or started it, and he didn't feel right. He was still achy, and they said, time out. Your innings are piling up, and if you're not feeling even the least bit right, we're going to slow down. Okay, so let's bump you out of the Houston series. And by the way, he sucks against the Astros. He has a worse record, or, when I say record, worse numbers against the Astros than he does any other team in the American League. 0-2, 4.35, which is not bad. But for him, it is. Okay.
So is your issue that they're not telling you the truth, or is your issue that you just want him out there to make his next start?
I'm not even saying I want them out there. My issue is that everybody's just accepting it as, this is what they do. No, this is not what they do. This is not what they've done at all. They gave him extra time around the All-Star break. They pulled him out of that game earlier in the year at 85 pitches, but they sent him out there and let him throw the 85. He made the start that night.
I'll be honest, as a fan, when I saw Crochet getting pushed to Monday, I think my first reaction wasn't like, he's dealing with something. My first reaction was, if this is what it takes to have him healthy and not hit the injured list through the whole first year in Boston, whatever. Like it wasn't like we need you in there against the Astros. It was, I don't need to know what's going on. If you're determining that he's healthy enough to avoid the IL and maybe he needs an extra few days, that's fine by me. I just want him to pitch healthy and make it through the whole season. So to me, like, I get what you're saying. I wasn't bothered by it, and it didn't raise any like red flags.
Okay, and I'm not bothered by it either. And I guess maybe I'm really just picking on the people that accept it without asking the next question.
Mm-hmm.
That's all my point is. Don't tell me it's just for the hell of it, or that they're worried about the innings load. They've been worried about the innings load all year. Again, I just told you, June 18th, June 24th, 5 days of rest. June 30th, 5 days of rest. July 6th, 5 days of rest. July 12th, 5 days of rest. July 20th, All-Star break, 7 days of rest. July 26th, 5 days of rest. This next one would have been August 1st, 5 days of rest. From July 12th to July 26th, he made one start. That just happened. They gave him all that time off. Now, all of a sudden, they're worried about the innings load after they just gave him all this time off?
Well, I mean, this is what happens when you get to the point of, this is as far as I got last year.
I know. I'm just telling you that, again, there was some little impetus for them to do this. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just telling the people that are saying, oh, he's fine, he's not hurt, there's nothing wrong. Okay, I don't believe that. There was something that caused it. And I'm not telling you the something is big. I'm just telling you there was a reason beyond, they're just protecting him. They've been protecting him all year. That to me is not any different.
You know what I've gotten out of this, Jimmy?
I'm pissed that people just accept it and go, oh, there's nothing wrong, nothing to see here.
Tony needs to get back on the beat. He's getting to that point. He's bored, like it's the summertime, like football hasn't started yet. We need to get Tony back on the beat.
So there was that year he was on Nesson, and I did notice a change. He was a little lighter.
Yeah.
He was the best color analyst on the Nesson broadcast that year, by the way. But
so look, I like being at the ballpark. I've always liked being at the ballpark. That goes without saying.
Yeah. There are political reasons why he's not there, but we won't discuss that here.
So we're going to take a break, but I do have something I have to share with you here. If I can find the copy, Jimmy, where the hell did I put it? Mm-hmm.
Share it with us.
It's like the most important copy of the summer.
I know, it really is. Here we go. It's 6:50 p.m., and at this time on Friday, listen closely, because this is actually a great contest. This time on Friday, we're going to give you a chance to win a brand new Ford F-150.
Oh, wow.
Courtesy of McGovern Automotive Group. So all you have to do is listen for your Instagram username to be announced. Okay, that's at 6:50 on Friday. And when you hear your Instagram username, you have 985 seconds. I almost said 98.5 seconds. 985 seconds, which is 16 minutes and 25 seconds, to call us back on the contest line, which is 617-931-0985. And you'll qualify for the truck. All the details on how to qualify are available on our website at 985thesportshub.com. Again, so this Friday, 6:50 p.m., we will announce an Instagram username, and if it's yours, you have to call within 985 seconds, 16 minutes, 25 seconds. Call us on the contest line, 617-931-0985, and you will qualify to win that truck. Again, all the details available on our website at 985thesportshub.com.
This is
I have a question for Jared, but before we do that, let me. In fact, you know what? Eric in Reading has a question for Jared, so let's do that too. Eric, what do you got?
What's up, boys? And sorry if you guys have already talked about these players, and maybe I missed it. But I wanted Carrabis and UMass to rank who you'd rather have, Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, or Sandy. Let me hear it.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to go Merrill Kelly 1. I think I'm going to go Sandy 2, even though there's risk there. But Zach Gallen has not been good this year. He's a rental, and all the under-the-hood stuff does not look good either.
Okay, so I would just flip Alcantara, and I would take him first.
Because you want the control.
I want the term.
You know how bad he's been this year?
I know he has.
He's been good over the last month and change.
Yeah, even then, not great. He had like 4 strikeouts and 3 walks in the last one, and I know he's.
You already got Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
Those are his outings, basically.
Yeah, but I think that with Alcantara, there is a chance.
There's upside.
Yeah, there's upside is right.
But are you using chips for upside, or do you want the guy like Merrill Kelly, if he comes in here today, like he's helping you for the rest of the year?
Right, but he's a rental.
Okay.
So I'm just telling you, I'm thinking bigger than that. This team's going to be in it.
So what if you trade for Sandy? I mean,
when I say in it, I mean for 2 or 3 years to come.
Up until probably July, through June.
He sucked.
It was like
disaster.
Statistically the worst pitcher in baseball.
Correct.
And then he'd be under contract for the next 3 years.
Right, so the price is cheaper too. You shouldn't have to give up much.
But they may look at it as, look, he got right.
They're the Marlins.
They're very dumb. You're right.
They're the Marlins.
It's risky.
So it is a little risky, but I think sometimes the best deals are the risky ones.
And I trust pitching coach Alex Bregman.
Yeah. You never know.
There was something else I was going to ask you. Oh, we got to do this quickly, though, because we're getting ready to wrap up. I had a friend of mine text me today wanting to know what the hell is going on with Marcelo Meyer. He doesn't feel like there has been a clear diagnosis and or time frame put on him. So what can you tell me about Marcelo Meyer?
Yeah, I think it's a wrist sprain. I think if it was torn and surgery was needed, he wouldn't be walking around with a brace. Like, he's walking around with a brace. It's a sprain. That's typically going to be, like I was saying before, 4 weeks with the brace to then have the brace come off and then see what it feels like. So when you have an injury like that, so I've torn both my wrists. Like, I'm a wrist expert now. But an injury like that, you feel better after about 4 weeks, but that's just like so that you don't feel pain and like turning a doorknob. Now we're talking about, like, can you hit a baseball? Can you throw a baseball? Can you lift a weight? That's when, so we probably won't know what he's going to look like for another 3 weeks or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is this the same wrist he had problems with in the past?
Yep.
Okay. Does that worry you?
In the short term, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a long term. It's not like degenerative. But yeah, it's like, I would say in the short term, yes. But you also have the benefit, or call it a luxury, of Ceddanne Rafaela being able to play a damn good second base in the meantime. And it also, it saves you, it depends on what your perspective is. It saves you having to move an outfielder. I'm happy with how the outfield looks right now. Like, Roman getting to lead off and play every day. Ever since Alex Cora moved Jarren Duran to the 3-hole, like, he's been, like, his OPS
is over 1,400.
Yeah. Like, I
tweeted a little while ago. You can look it up.
Oh, thank you, Tony. Thank you. I appreciate your statistical analysis as always. But yeah, no, I think if you're stuck with this situation, you're not sacrificing defense at second base by having Rafaela there. So
he's dynamite.
Yeah. I think I'm fine. Like, I'm not stoked that Marcelo Meyer's not in there every day, but you're not suffering really because of it. Like, you're just moving pieces around.
Correct. Yeah. Anyway, that Crochet thing just sent me into orbit today, so forgive me for that. But
I forgive you, Tony.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for,
as always a
thank
pleasure
you for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you in here. Does Joe Murray get the night show?
He is.
Well, where the hell is he? It's 7:02.
I'll do it.
Is he down the hall?
He's somewhere. He's in the building, I'm told.
I just, be nice.
Might be in the hopper.
If he, I want.
Oh, there he is.
I want 2 minutes of his pay. Is what I want, because I just filled 2 minutes of his show. Majority.
So that means you owe.